sky, one earth, so you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Isn't it time for the stop time? Isn't it time now to stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurt, with one need, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace in peace all alive. So why is the war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time for the stop time? Isn't it time now to stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurts, with one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace in peace, in peace. Alright, peace, peace together. Peace. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Shadow Chasing Show Between Two Worlds. I'm your host, Derrick Whiteskycloud. Yes, I am here. Yes, I made it. I didn't do it last week. I've been so busy, and I'm back. Okay, we got lots to talk about, and I hope you guys are doing well out there. Thank you for joining me on the YouTube chat room as well as the Facebook chat room. We do need get the word out everywhere, and I hope you guys are having a great, a great week or coming up weeks. We just haven't got only 2 more weeks until Christmas is coming. I'm telling you, like, we're getting that close, and I'm sure you're getting ready to share some wonderful feelings and gifts. And have you guys actually been shopping yet? Have you got your gifts yet for all your family or friends? You never know. Like, what can I say? Well, anyways, I'm here. So, having a sip of coffee. Not hot chocolate, by the way, it's coffee. And I thought I'd put in some Christmas cheer by wearing my really cool toque. And pardon me. That's what happens. You eat something sweet before you come on the show. So there's a lot of things to talk about, and I have myself the last few weeks. Now we'll allow everybody to come into the chat rooms as well. Guys are just coming right in now as we speak. We're just getting started. Um, I've been actually watching other people's writings, their information, sending me information right down from right to my both pages. I'm True North Strong and Free page, whether it's on Telegram or Facebook. What's been happening? There have been a lot of people are kind of really taking it so serious. Now we'll start the word serious about our country in Canada, worried that the world's coming to an end, so to speak. And I'm going like, guys, it's not. Okay. We're transitioning, we're changing, but we're not going to lose our lives here. We're not going to lose family. We're not going to lose our children. We're not going to lose our rights. Okay. Um, we are beginning to experience a lot of, we noticed, you guys will start noticing too, there's a lot of people, okay, who have been slowly leaving Parliament, ones that actually were I will call the shit disturbers for the longest time, and most of them are of the Liberal Party. Ever since the Conservatives started to speaking up for themselves, and that was, who it is, right? Now, as of today or yesterday, the Liberals now are trying to tell the Conservatives that they need to go home and to take a break away from Parliament, so then the Liberals can actually start taking over and start to make up stories that will try to scare you more. And it gets to be monotonous. I've been watching this, and there's a lot of great people out there that have been watching Parliament. They're 24/7 sitting there watching, and I can't stand watching the parliamentary thing all the time, but I pretty well have an idea what is going on, right? And but you get an idea. People have been recording some of the things that they've actually has said and done. We already know that everybody in government, everybody in Parliament right now, they're all corrupt. Okay, they're all bad dudes, so to speak, and you're just watching a show. Okay, everyone's watching the show. It's just a movie, folks, and like don't take it to heart. And some of you may be saying right now, well, I don't watch TV, I don't watch this, I don't watch that. Well, good for you. But the news media, the mainstream media, and I do work for the mainstream media, but ours is independent. And the government hates us. They hate the independent journalisms. They hate the people like me that knows what's going on. And they don't like it when we show up when we ask them questions, because they'll say, no, we don't want you here because you're not who we want to pay off to lie for. And that's something that we don't do. We don't BS the public. We tell the truth. Now, if you guys may have noticed, I'm sure you've noticed last 3, 4, 5 or more years, if you want to call somebody a real true journalist, no true journalist would ever repeat the same column on every station. And you could see them all boxing it from 2 or 3 people saying the same line, and so on and so on and so on. There's actually over 100 people saying the same thing that is written in their, you know what, okay? And they're supposed to say these words. All they're doing, folks, is brainwashing, okay? They're teaching you how to listen to trust the mainstream media, and that's not what this is all about. Now, Facebook right now is telling me that I'm actually have a slow connection, which is bullcrap. Okay, they're trying to slow it down because they know now they have algorithms and they're listening in again. Okay, Facebook didn't really actually get involved before, not saying too much until when the fake or faux FAUX Trudum, okay, the faux Trudum, supposedly passed a bill that we are not allowed to share any information in Parliament. We're not allowed to share any information on the news media, on any mainstream. And if we did, they'd take it down. So the one time, I guess you call X, anything to do with parliamentary, anything to do with news media, now you'll see anything that's Canadian made or Canadian written or told or shared, the X station now, or X site, which was once, what is taken down. Like anything Canadian that's news media, they take it down. They don't want you to share any information. But if it's regarding Trudum, he can say whatever he wants, and X lets him. Now, even though Elon Musk says that they can't do this, right? But the Canadian government made somehow a deal, and it was done before Musk even showed up. And that contract was told that even they're going to find a way to break in. Now, this is just a game. This is just a ploy to get you scared that you don't have any say in any matters. Okay, in any column, anything to do with, because they basically what our Canadian government wants you to do, our Liberal government wants you to do, is to walk away. Say, I'm tired of this, I'm walking away. I'm tired of this, I'm walking away. When you walk away, they take more advantage of passing bills in government. This is what the mainstream media likes to do. They love to take control of, and they get the mainstream media to talk about it. They get them to share the stories. But our Canadian government and all our liberal government has been doing now has been waiting until midnight, just before midnight, and they'll hang out in Parliament until they can pass a bill. Everybody else goes home. But the thing is that most people may not realize, if you see here, a lot of parliamentary people don't stick around to the end. When they're done their spiel, they get up and they go home. If you want to pass a bill, they can hang out as long as they possibly can till no one's around, then they get the bill passed. This is how they do it. They wait until the end. And they try to see if they can flip it. And they say, oh, well, this bill's passed too late. You can't do anything about it. It's going in. Well, yes, you can. It doesn't take a conservative vote, doesn't take any other votes to tell you what you can or cannot do. It takes the public, the people themselves, you, the citizens. You are the people. You are the people who have the say. You did not give Trudeau permission to pass any bills and telling you what to do. You didn't. He was saying to you that he wants to be the dictator of the country and to tell you what to do, and he'll say you have no say in the matter. Yes, you do. And then he'll say, well, the Canadian people want this, the Canadian people want that. No, they don't. But that's what they use, is the word Canadian people. This is where we should not allow any politician to use the word the Canadian people want this, the Canadian people want that. Don't. They should not even actually use that. You should not inclusively add this into your problems. If you have an issue to deal with, you should say, well, we don't agree as a conservative party, and we should put it to vote and have the public, people like you and I, to vote this. Now, why should we be doing this once every 3-4 years to vote someone in and do only one vote per person for one? All it is just an election. But why can't the public vote for every bill? It's never been done. Okay? Why can't we, the public, we, the citizens of Canada, why can't we put to vote of any bills to be passed? We don't need these jerks in our government to represent us, because all you are doing, folks, is you are giving someone the opportunity to take advantage of you and control you and to rule you and tell you what you're allowed to have, what you're allowed to earn, how many children you're allowed to have, what you're allowed to drive, what you're allowed to own, They're telling you because you gave them permission. Why can't you be the one yourself? And they should have for every they should have an election unit placed in every home, and they will put a vote to a specific name of a specific let's say a bill that you want to look at it yourself. Okay, the whole of Canada has the right to watch what's coming into Parliament. It's okay. Now, do you vote this yes or no? Da 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 da. And you push the button yourself. Let them tabloid this up every day if necessary, maybe once a month, but at least you're responsible because you have no excuse whatsoever because you basically made that. And I've heard people say to me all the time, oh, I shouldn't have voted for him. I should not have voted for her because now I found out what they're like. Then why did you vote? And they'll say, well, you have to vote because it's the law. No, it's not. It's a volunteer. They're telling you it's a law that you have to vote. No, you don't. Okay? They're telling you so many bullshit stories to make you believe that you have to follow the rules, not a law. Whether it's rules in Congress or rules in Parliament, American or Canadian, the public has the last say, not your politicians. Same with your police. Okay. Your police officers are also politicians. Okay. Policy. They're policies. Politicians' policy. Your police is policy. They're making up bullshit. They're making up stuff as they go along to make you believe that you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you don't know. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. No, I'll take care of it. I want to know what my country is going through right now. I want to know how much water is being excessively destroyed. I want to know what's going on in this planet, on this world. I want to know how my neighbor's doing. Right? We are the citizens. We are the people. We are the ones that have the say in the matter. Do you believe yourself? I'll put that question out for you folks. Do you believe that you should be the one? Should you actually have this little machine, say the size of this, sitting in your office, on your table, wherever it is in your home, and they'll put on a TV screen, a channel, just parliamentary channel, and you're watching Parliament passing a vote. Now, they're not passing the vote. They're offering you an opportunity to pass that vote. Whether you are agreeing or disagreeing, and you actually will click on it yourself. This is what I had seen in my vision. In the future, we won't need parliamentary of anyone. No one telling us what to do. No one's going to be voting. No one in Parliament, no one in government, no cabinet ministers, no one. They're going to be gone. What we're going to have is the public. We're pushing those buttons ourselves. We're the ones that has a say in the matter. We're going to put a vote to it. Even though President Trump says if we're going to be voting for the president or any president election, it'll be on paper. Yes, you're voting for a president. You're voting for whoever in Parliament. Put it on paper, right? But make it where the public has the say more. We need to take more responsibility. Okay. We, the people, need to take more responsibility than those idiots that are sitting down all day, bitching and complaining and insulting each other, swearing, whatever they want to call it, and then they start picking on each other like they're like children and like kids in the sandbox. Oh, you kicked sand in my face. Oh, you insulted me. Ha. And that's why you have this guy sitting on this little wearing a black robe, and he's telling you what to say or what to do. Well, I don't think you should say this. Bullshit. You represent a corporation. You're still also representing You're representing Saturn. Okay? The black robe. You're not representing the people. You're representing yourself. You're under the Saturn rule. That is satanic. Okay? And that's true, Diane and Nicole. We all need to be paying more attention to our bills, and that we all should have the say in voting. Any bill, I don't care how small, how big. We don't need all these people to represent us because they're passing shit behind the counter. I remember watching here, even mayoralship. I remember watching our last mayor, Doug McCallum, here in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. And when he wanted to pass a bill real quick, he would muffle under the microphone. Okay, put a vote to it. Now nobody can hear him, but they go, okay, raise your hand. Just raise your hand. Just raise your hand. Okay, passed. He doesn't want you to know what he passed because he got paid for it. He got paid for something he wants to get passed. There are people out there that slyly gave this man, for example, there was actually a specific road that these people wanted to have where I'm living, and to tear out this part of the park. Okay, we have a beautiful park here, beautiful nature. We have lots of wild animals, and they want him to cut. And then they want McCallum to bulldoze all the way through to the other side to get to a temple, a Sikh temple, and bulldoze it so they can put in a parking lot. But also he said, well, we need a highway. And he's making up stories about having too many accidents in any specific area, which is not true. But what happened was, on video, someone recorded it, and he was at a specific shopping center next to the city hall, and the whole bunch of the Sikh people gave him a gift in an envelope. On that envelope said $245,000. That's for him to make sure that road is built. It didn't go to the city. It went to him. They even said it out loud that he got paid $245,000 to build that road. So under no circumstance will anybody be able to stop him from what he's going to do. Now, we tried. We tried our darndest to make sure that road could try to get stopped. And there's so many animals that were murdered and killed on account of him. We watched some of the construction workers, men that are actually working on the roads, that are tearing out the roads, and they're killing wildlife with hammers, bulldozing them over the nests, you name it, knocking trees down. It was horrible. But he went ahead and did this. And, they can go somewhere else, he says. They can go somewhere else. You cannot. You cannot. No animal will go anywhere. When they're born there, they stay there. It's like you guys. If you're born in the city and you're born in your specific neighborhood, would you want to move away? Because your parents say, well, the mayor's kicking us out, so we have to go somewhere else. I don't want to leave my school. I don't want to leave. I have all my friends. I don't want to leave. That's exactly what it feels like. You're being torn away because you're forced to leave. Because the mayor he's expropriated land. It's called the 1996 Expropriation Act. He's actually expropriated land away from people who actually were 2, 3, 4 generations, even farmers. And he took the land away from the farmers. It's nothing new. He's worse than Bill Gates. He's taken land away from farmers and built condos in there. Kicked them out, arrested them, hauled them away, kept them silent. And he got away with it. So that's why I'm trying to point out to you folks, we need to stop these. Now, there's some really wonderful politicians that I've met, some people that have really tried so hard to work for us. I know we have, like right now here in Surrey, we got Brenda Locke. She's trying her darndest. I had a long chat with her. She's, I'm trying, Derrick. I'm trying so hard. And she is, because she believed in wanting to do this for the people. It's not for her. It's for the people. And yet there's always going to be people out there that are going to make up stories about her. They're going to make up garbage about an editorial story that's done by a Surrey leader paper, who are told by whoever is getting paid off to lie to make her look bad. And that's typical. Anybody that's doing something good, they go after you. Anybody's doing something bad, oh, they don't say much. They just laugh at it, think it's funny. It's not a joke. Whenever President Trump goes after somebody that's doing bad, what does the bad guys do? They reverse it, turn it around, flip it around, and blaming him for coming after them. He has every right to come after the bad guys because he knows they're evil as evil can be. And we do have some really bad ones out across this country everywhere. You think that Trudeau is pure as essence of snow? No. There's stories about him and there's things I know of him. And he's well known for his adventures. Okay. And I know and there's people that I know I would love to say these words, but I can't because they had to ask me not to say anything until he is this one here. You have to see the step-by-step stage of a Trudeau being taken away. The real one's gone. He's gone. He's not even on this earth. He's gone. But this one here has to act it out and tell the story. But we still have to play the game. We still have to participate and to stop this from going through anything that is actually any of this discrediting bill that's trying to harm us. They're talking about so many distractions about taking money away from us, our cash that we use, and making go digital. They're trying to take it where they're trying to make you believe that you have to give up your food and start eating bugs. They want to destroy all the cattle because they're considered as a climate problem. The cattle have nothing to do with it. I was a kid on the farm. I raised cattle. I know what flatulence is like. We are the worst of all flatulences. I'm waiting for that day. For one day, they're going to turn and say, "Oh, no, we all need to wear a butt plug and put one on. We'll put a giant one on the cows." Thing is that, folks, we need to understand one thing. They're going to make up all kinds of crap. Okay? And they're going to make up stuff to make us believe that we have no power. Now, in the UK, okay, hey, there's John Edge. Nice to see you, sir. In the UK, there have some really good journalists out there, independent journalists, and these journalists now in the UK have been arrested and hauled to jail and the police are actually arresting them, hauling them to jail, and won't release them. Why? Because they're telling the truth. And as long as they are in the way, the corrupt police are getting away with it. Now, why are these people being taken away? Because you're exposing the truth. They didn't do anything wrong. They're telling their story. And the only way that the police officer or government believes, the corrupt government believes, if they get you out of the way, they can't tell the story. And the thing is that there's lots to talk about. We're almost at that peak. We're almost at that edge now. We're almost ready for that transition of the Earth shift to the fifth dimension. Okay, we're beginning. Because in 2024, we're beginning to transition. We're slowly beginning to transition now. We're getting that close. And I'm waiting. I'm going like, holy crap, that'd be nice to see this transition. Because anybody who's really bad is done. They're left here. This new Earth, when it shifts, it's almost like you got two Earths here. Say you got one Earth. Say this is what it looks like first. Say this is my hand, like it looks like Earth. What's going to happen? This is how it's going to work, folks. Once we start believing more in our spiritual sense and consciousness, this is what's going to happen. The earth has to go through a shift. It's like Mother Earth is letting go of her old skin. That's what's happening. So she's shedding what she doesn't need anymore, and it pulls away. All that was on here that we have dealt with, emotional, negative, you talk about wars, trauma, the whole past of those years and generations was there. It's gone. This is the new earth right here. And that's exactly what's going to happen. This is what I was shown. We're going to go through this, like break away. So the old earth is here and the new earth is here. Those that are ready to transition into this one, and you won't expect it. Like right now, everyone's going through a change now. We have already started to shift. And it all started, they call it Mandela effect. Okay. There are some things out there right now that we used to see in TV shows or videos or in books, anything that entertains us, things that I would remember as a kid growing up. And yet there's people out there that denied the fact that it actually existed. No, I remember when I was young, what did exist. Certain things on TV, and they say, no, it never happened. Yes, it did. I'm not dumb, but that's exactly what's happening. We're all going through the shift right now. Okay. That's the Mandela effect. We're starting to shift. We're starting to separate now. There are so many people that I have met. A lot of people I've spoken to, people I've been seeing to, people I've been in so many discussion rooms, and they've all said the same thing. And the first thing they're feeling now is the emotional shift, and everything to do with here, all up here. Anybody who is working on their spiritual awakening, anybody who's going through emotional breakdowns, I'm not talking about the COV, what happened in the past. That's something separate. We're going through a shift. We're going through a transition right now. The body and the mucus of all that's left is pulling away. Okay. So basically, right now, people are going through depression. People are going through side effects of feeling weak, feeling sleepy all the time. You can't. So like I was going through, I would say for the last 2-3 months, I was going through sleep modes. I couldn't stop sleeping. Like I not even sleeping. I was sitting there. All of a sudden, my eyes are closed. I go, that's not me. I'm not diabetic. I'm like, I was out like this. And I'm going, I open my eyes, like my wife says, you're sleeping. I said, no, I'm not. I'm wide awake. And she goes, no, you're gone. And yet when I'm gone, I'm seeing things. I'm being shown visions. So what Spirit's doing, they want me to see these things so I can share these with you. So I had to accumulate some history and stories about what I see. So there are people going through different side effects of, like I said before, see if you guys know some of the symptoms here and see if you're feeling this yourself. I'm not talking about having to lose someone in a relationship or someone in your family. I'm talking about, are you starting to feel weak? Like your body feels kind of weak, sleepy all the time. You feel empathy of depression, sadness, remorse, and you don't know why you feel that way. Losses of loved ones can also be that makes you feel that way. But I'm talking about, like just going through, like, what do you think that causes this change? Okay. Are you going through this now yourself? And every one of you are going to ask your family member, have you been noticing that people are actually noticing they can't stop sleeping lots? Even though you're getting lots of exercise and you're healthy and trying to do all the nutritional things, but yet your body's going like, I'm going, oh, I can't sleep. Like I have no control. Like right now I'm wide awake and doing my show, but there's times I'll sit in the chair watching TV with with my wife. I wish my mom was here. With my wife, and I'm enjoying the entertainment. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, gone. And then I'm like, open my eye, like, what the hell? Like, I'm gone. So, and it has nothing to do with sleep. I'm not sleepy, just that I'm gone. The energy feels like, oh. I also, what happens is if anybody starts to create a negative feeling or negative force about to you, for example, if people start to co-create negativity about someone, or say we have right now, here's what's going on. Here's an idea. The whole world right now is so caught up in the Israel and in the Israel war. Okay. They're all caught up in it now. I've never seen so many people in Vancouver at the protest. Everybody's just so overwhelmed in it. Like save the world, save these people, protect them. No, 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 no. And the next thing you know, there are conflicts between different races of people all over, whether it's Canada, United States, across the world. We are going through all these phases. Why are people participating in this? Because before Israel began, there was Ukraine and Russia. Then there was China against Canada or United States. There were so many things that we were always involved in by some means of a war, that our emotions participated in these wars, that we became so overwhelmed that it drains the living heck out of you. It does. People I've actually talked to had said they've lost sleep over this because they believe it's the end of the world. It's not. We all are going through a transition. Okay? And anybody who's involved in the spiritual work, healing work, whether you are a medical doctor, nurse, caregiver, that sort of thing, but also people doing the work like I myself, I'm what you call a sensitive, psychic medium, a sensitive. Like I can feel emotions of people. That's the way I've has been all my life. That's why I'm so caught up in my own work that, and in the energies, I'm just the way I am. I get caught up in it, and I have no control of the emotion. But what this does for me is understand or understand the people themselves, what they're going through, because I'm feeling what they're feeling. I'm picking up their energy. And so, any of you out there on this program, or those who actually will be watching this later on after it's recorded, you'll have a better understanding as well that it all affects everyone. Everyone wants to start getting back into alternative. We're all trying to get back into alternative, taking care of ourselves more, our bodies, our emotion, our brain, and all the things that are happening across the world that are making people very sick, that we want to get better. We want to live longer. Okay. There are so many biblical people that are practicing the Bible. They're trying to say the heathen this and that and negative this and negative that. They talk about the Tartarian. They're bringing up all these stories now. They're all doing research. They're bringing up talking about the giants. They're talking about all kinds of stuff all across the world, and the mudslides they've had through a couple hundred years ago. And they're bringing all these things up now. Why are they deciding to do the research now? Because they want the people themselves that were the generations before, knew about this. Okay. And they want you to see the truth. They brought out some of these photographs and some of these videos and some of these pictures, and they're dropping them. Okay, folks, these are drops. Some people call them Q drops, but they're drops. They're drops of the past, the history. And then someone's out there going like, no, 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 anybody could say it's CGI, anybody could do that. Oh, that's AI, anybody can make that. No, folks, this is all anything you start seeing on photographs. This is not done by a photographer, or not done by somebody who does AI in their computer. This is real stuff. This is actually some of these pictures I've seen. I've got pictures of them. Are top secrets. Okay, these are actually stamped top secret military. Okay, Smithsonian Museum had 5.5 square miles. 5.5 square miles, tall shelvings, drawers of historical stuff that goes way back way back artifacts, way back documents, the 777 pages, which was from the Vatican. They kept it hidden away. So between the Smithsonian Museum as well as the Vatican, they've got miles and miles and miles of history that was hidden away from you, the people. You know why the Vatican took it? Because they don't want you to know the truth. They didn't want you to know the truth because then they had no control over you. That's why. You think, and that's, I remember what Spirit said to me, or even Jesus said to me when I was a kid. Because I asked him about the church. I asked him about the Bible. Because I never went to church when I was young. And I asked him about the Bible, and he said the Bible is 7/8 untrue. 7/8. Now he used the word 7/8. Why? Not because it's not true, but it got twisted. And if you look at all these people today talking about the Bibles, not the one, but many Bibles, and they've all been manipulated and changed and switched and shifted so many times, and they've all kept saying, all I can find is 7 or 8 Bibles that got changed from the history. And the oldest Bible they found so far is in the 1400s. They even had maps in the Bible, the true world maps in the Bible, or in that particular Bible, showing you Antarctica, where it was a land where people had lived and still do. Why is the military kept you away from Antarctica? Because it was the Germans, it was Hitler's people. They're the ones that controlled it. Until our commander-in-chief got hold of it, so to speak. They showed him, Special Forces, Alliance Forces showed him this, and they took it over. And they're still cleaning it up. Because you're not getting shut out. They want you to find this. They want you to explore this. There are giants that still exist. I know they do. They always have. Not one giant was a fairy tale. Nothing was made up for a book. I mean, why would anybody make up a story about a giant when you already know it exists anyways? They've been around for a long, long time. There's so many things that I've seen. Angels. I remember a lady many years ago, and she did some automatic writing as a medium. I forgot her name. Ruth Montgomery. She wrote, I think, about 12 or 13 books. In one of her books, she wrote, and this came from another man who actually made that prediction as well, and stated, and even many other people have actually said truthfully, is that the giants did exist, that Atlantis was a science station or a science. There are scientists that had the ability to manipulate to make half human, half hybrid people. And so they've been doing it for a long time. Okay. And so the thing is that they showed you, and now you're starting to see people go, oh, well, we're not sure if mermaids really exist. But yet, why are the women today, for the last, let's say, 10 or maybe more years, are making all these wonderful, as close as they can to make these costumes to look like mermaids? Why are people so fascinated to look like mermaids? I mean, these ladies way back into the 1960s, there's a documentary on it that these women actually would have these oxygen tubes, and they would go down below in this big, huge tank in Vegas, and they would swim like a mermaid. And people thought it was great, fantastic. Why would they do this? Because everyone's fascinated with a mermaid. Do mermaids exist? Yes, they do. So many videos and photographs of mermaids, and yet there's always going to be people out there going to say, oh, no, that's AI, it's CGI, anybody can do that. Okay, But what if you stood in front of one in your face and you video recorded it yourself on a beach or photographed it on the beach? Are you going to actually expose that to the public and say, look what I found, or this is who I communicated with? And you're going to actually put it on your, whether you're, no matter what, whether it's whatever your social network page will be, are you going to want to share that and have those people out there criticize you and say, oh, well, anybody can make it up. Anybody can be in a costume. Anybody can do AI. Or would you stand behind it 1,000% and say, it's real. I was there. Look at this. This is what I've got. This is the proof. As often as you try to bring out the proof, not everyone's going to believe it. And the only way they're going to believe it is they have to experience it. And that's why today and the next few more months, we're going to experience some really crazy ass stuff. We're all going to go through this, and it's going to be a mind-blowing thing. It's whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Telegram, Rumble, you name it, or any other social network, and you start seeing all these crazy stuff. More Sasquatch are coming out of the woodwork. The Sasquatch has been coming out of the woodwork for years, as no pun intended, but that's actually true. Sasquatch has been in existence for before the earth, before even humankind was around, because they were brought here and dropped off here. So they've been living here for a long time, and they've been living underground too. So they're not just in the forest. There's many of them. You just don't see them. Why? Because they are intelligent and they don't want to hurt you. But if you keep on chasing them and tracking them down and you corner them, they're going to hurt you. They look like us. They just have fur. Why isn't it in the States that it's illegal to hunt a Sasquatch? It's illegal to kill a Sasquatch. Why do they pass the law in the United States and Canada? It's illegal to hunt a Sasquatch with a gun. It's illegal to kill them because they already know that they exist. Why do you think that your military and your government says it's illegal to actually communicate with an alien? I'm not talking about any illegal aliens crossing the borders. I'm talking about aliens up above. Why is it illegal for us to communicate with them, a physical one, and they want us to turn them in to the government? Because they're seeking control. They don't want you to participate in the knowledge, you're passing it on to us. We are the aliens. We have been here. We've been brought here from another planetary system twice. From one place, Mars, another place, another planet, original planet we're originally from another galaxy. We're brought here twice. We screwed up twice. Okay? We screwed up twice in these lifetimes as a planetary people. And they gave us this opportunity to fix it. And this is our last time here. And why do you think we're going through the trend? And I mentioned this a couple years ago. This is before anybody ever mentioned about it. I was already told that we have to fix it or we lose it. And you don't want to lose it. And so now people are being more aware of taking care of the planet. We don't have as much pollution as we once had. We're far more aware of it. In fact, here in British Columbia, we're 0.4% carbon clean, as in there's no problems here. We have no pollution here. Our water is the best water in Canada, the purest, and yet Nestle's wants to own it. Why? So they can put their freaking little shit inside of it so they can mess with your head and make you sick. It's the purest mountain water in Canada, which is here in British Columbia. And Nestle's tried to take it away from us about 5 or so years ago. And the people who lived in the area of Hope said, no, you cannot have our water. They were going to take it. They were going to say, and the German guy, the fellow who actually owns the company, Nestle's, is German. He goes, no one has any right to that water but us. We'll buy it. We will own it. You can't have it. And I'm like, screw you, bud. You just can't come from Germany and walk right in and take it over. No, You don't. So this is why we are put here for a reason. We have a purpose to be here. Many of us has a purpose to be here. Each and every one of you in this chat room that are watching what I'm talking about, every one of you now have gone through experiences of emotional, mental, physical, spiritual awakening. You're still with me, and I appreciate it. Those that have walked out, they'll say, "Oh, I'll watch it later." Great. I'm not mad at anybody for not being in the chat room that long, but yet Facebook actually has downsized my participants so many times because they know I'm telling the truth. I've had fact checkers back and forth at me continuously, not from our country, but from a foreign country, whether it's from Ukraine, whether it's from Poland, from Indonesia, China, and they're telling us telling us what we don't know about our country. Oh wait, I don't believe it. Like, screw you, bud. You don't live here. You never have lived here. Why tell me it's a fact checker? I'm telling a story of history of the past of our people, of our own country. Things have happened, and fact checker got involved from another country saying, no, it never happened. Screw you, it did. It's been passed off from generation to generation, buddy. But yet they're going to tell you, oh, no, it never happened. Oh, someone wrote this in here. And yet you click on the page to say that it didn't. If they said it didn't happen, you click on the page to see who did the research. The page is blank. So that means that person's made it up to make sure that you will give up and walk away. Don't walk away. Don't give up. Fight back. Tell them to their face. It's not their business. Charge. You can actually go after fact checkers, the company itself. You can charge them for stalking. Did you know that? Did you guys know that? It's an international law. You can actually charge them for stalking you. No matter what, I don't care what social network you're in, you can charge them for stalking. You can go after them. They have no right to agree or disagree with anything you do or say or write. That's a stalking charge. If you say in your own heart that you want to share that, they can't stop you. They can't. If they say, well, you can't do this, and you block it and knock it out, you send them a message. If you don't put it back, I'll charge you for stalking. It's an international law. I will send the military to go over to your business, and you're done. Guess what? Gone. They pull it out because you challenged them. Fake checkers, that's all they ever do. AFP is one of the worst companies, and actually that company AFP is owned by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They own it. And there's other corporations, which is under the Bilderbergs, Rothschilds, and them as well. If you follow the crumbs, it'll take you to them. They'll change the name, but it's still the same people. Same on Facebook. Anything that relates to Facebook that says fact checkers, it's all connected to the Bill and Melinda Gates. They are the main culprits. Plus anybody who's, and I'm not sure if the CIA has anything to do with it too, but I don't think they rather care. What's more important to them is they want to make sure they're going after the bad guy. But other than that, I will not tolerate what they do. So, okay. And I will say this. I got 4 more strikes sent to me from YouTube. They actually removed, I don't know how many of my videos, goes way back. They removed all my videos. And now they're just making decisions like, oh no, it's not what we agree with. No. And my show has nothing to do with the V. It's all in something else, spiritual. Now they're saying that God doesn't exist. Oh, how do you know? There's no proof that God exists, so now we're going to take this out too. Don't forget, folks, YouTube is run by a corporation under a you-know-what with horns in it. Think about it. Okay. As of tomorrow and the 16th, we're supposed to be getting showers in the stars, shooting stars. I call them shooting stars, across the sky for the next 2 days. So that's helping the Earth go through a shifting change and a shift. So keep an eye out for it, folks. It's worth your while. It's when it comes out. I mean, last time I saw the showers of stars shooting across the sky, like a whole bunch of, not just one. I mean, I'm talking about all. I was about 2000, year 2000. Yeah. 23 years ago, I remember standing outside my front lawn. I laid down my front lawn at nighttime, around midnight. I'm looking at the sky, and it's just clear as all can be. And they're shooting stars, like just like long ones, eh? So you're going to end up seeing some star showers in the sky, as beautiful as all can be. But it also relates to what's going on. The Earth is going through a shift, and that's the reason why these stars actually shoot across the sky. It's clearing our energies. As I mentioned before earlier, folks, we were all going through a energy shift. Every one of us. Some of you will feel the experience of it. Some of you will feel heavy. Some of your symptoms are feeling heavy inside, goes through the tummy. Your chest feels like as if you're having an anxiety attack. Okay, that happens continuously, and it's not a medical problem. It's also to do with the Earth shifting, and it's actually going through a change. And it's not there's nothing being sprayed in the skies, nothing there. It's all to do with the energy. No one's thinking bad medicine on you. No one's trying to hurt you. No witches are doing any negative things on you. They can't hurt you. That's been stopped. Okay. You're gonna have some people that are trying to still think badly of you, trying to harm you if they don't like you. Then fight back. Mirror it. Okay. Create a mirror. Just create the visualization and shoot back. Just say, this is my mirror. Anybody wants trying to harm me can bounce back to them. It's not mine. This is not mine. It's not, I don't want to own it. They can take it back if they think ill will of you. It's so simple. We have the ability to mirror negative energy back to the person that tried to harm you, person or persons. Anytime anybody thinks ill will of you, it's never, theirs is not to hate you. They're afraid of you. Okay? Because you're powerful beings. Every one of you. You're powerful beings. And you're brought here for a reason. It's not just to learn lessons, but also share your teachings. Whatever you're guided to say to someone, you're giving someone a story. Like, for example, many of you have dreams. You'll say you wake up in the morning going, I don't know why I had this crazy dream, told me this, this, and this. Write it down in a book. There's a reason for it. But they all have a purpose. The message is for every individual person. And sometimes people will twin those messages, as in somebody else is going to get a message similar. My wife and I, one day, we both got the same message in a different time. Like I was sleeping in the living room and she was sleeping in the bedroom. And that's when I was going through my cold flu shift. Okay. I stayed in the living room on my lazy boy chair for about 4 days. But when I slept on there, I was going through vision upon vision upon vision until the last day, the 4th day, I saw a beautiful, I've never experienced this part in my life. I've never seen such a huge, I was 30, 40 feet tall, giant angel. All I can see is her wearing this angel looking loose. They're wearing sandals. Like I see all I saw was feet and a pair of sandals from the distance. And then next thing you know, I said, and she's trying to talk to me. And I said, I can't hear you. Can you lower yourself to me? I can't hear you, because her energy was so powerful. She shrunk herself down to my height to talk to me and spoke to me and gave me a message. And this is why I always felt that as often as people try to, and she did say this to me, people will always challenge your skills. It's your anatomy. They are afraid of your energy. When you approach people, they know your energy is out there and they can feel it. It makes them feel scared of you, not your appearance. It's an energy, not a negative energy. It makes them feel trembly at times. And she said that there is also people like myself that practice spiritual work. And many of you do this. Many of you actually out there right now, you practice spiritual work, and people know your presence when they can know that you're in the presence, and and sometimes people are like dumbfounded, going like, "Oh, I don't know why I need to talk to you. I need to ask you questions, or I don't know. I need to feel. I need to say something, or can I ask you?" That's because we're in the presence of the God energy. We're in the God light, and we stand in the God light. Everyone does, but most people practice in the God light. We are actually we're just we have no we don't have an, how do you say this, it's more of a unconscious understanding, unconscious energy that they, it's a gift they give to us because we are brought here for one reason, because we chose to help others. It has nothing to do with race identity, has nothing to do with language identity, has nothing to do with how you should appear. It's all to do with your presence, that you're humbly introducing yourself to to people, whether it's the individual or families or crowds, but you're asked to be there to share that message of hope and faith and comfort and joy, and to share peace, which is very important, amongst everyone, and share with them and say, now it's your time to share your joy, your peace, your humbleness. Because, and I've had people once the odd person come up to me and they'll say to me, "Oh, you think you're better than me?" No, I have no interest in being better than somebody else. I'd rather be your equal. Like I'm just a person. My job is to share what I can share as much as possible to share with you my message from the other side. And yet, see, I'm feeling the energy now because they're walking through me, and it makes my body, like, they know it's time. For all who'll know the truth and those who seek the joy and the comfort, for those who stand in their truth, will always get their answer. Seek not the negative, but seek the truth and to share what's important. No matter what you feel or hear from the spirit world, and a lot of people will hesitate, they'll say, "I'm not sure if I should say that." Whatever they tell you, and this is my advice to every one of you out there, those are actually are not sure how you should say something to someone, whether you need to give them a message or to be there, you have to tell them. Just say, I don't know why I need to get this message to you, but they're telling me to say this to you. Hope you understand. And just relay the message and leave it at that. You don't have to stretch it any bigger than what it is. Just tell them what you're guided to say. Nothing more. And it makes you feel like they belong, that they are needed. And it gives them comfort, and that they don't feel lost. And this is what's happening right now. Everyone out there is feeling lost because we had those 3 years of our lives removed from us, that they took that away from us and we gave them the right to do. We gave them our power. Listen to yourself. You gave away your own power to them. You did. Because you believe they said you had to. So what are you doing right now? You're taking your power back. You take back everything that's yours. Everything that's yours. Even pieces of your soul that's just ripped right from you. Those people say, I've got you. I own you. No, you don't. You ever hear those stories? People say, oh, no matter what happens, I'm going to take every piece of soul out of you. I'm going to pull this out of you. And that's exactly what they will try to do. So your great intention, what I tell you, need to share with you folks, you need to do is anytime you sit still with yourself, even if you're driving behind the wheel and you're driving your car and you got a radio on, I'm asking the Creator, God, to help give me my strength back, which He never took away. He never took away your strength. You gave it up to the dark side. And the only way you take it back and say, you have no right to take a piece of my soul whatsoever, because that soul does not belong to you. It belongs to God. And I stand in God's light. God has the say who takes whose soul, and He will never take your soul from you. He is a giver, not a taker. Why do you think people will sign a contract in blood to Satan to give up their soul to be famous? They cut the finger, cut the hand, they dip it in ink, and they sign it in blood. And there's always people out there that are going to say, sign here, I'll make you famous. Cut your finger, dip. Don't ever do that. Now, they think, these dark forces think they own you. They don't. They can never, ever, ever take your soul from you because it belongs to God. The soul belongs to God. It will never belong to the devil. Ever. None. That's what I was told. No one owns your soul but you. It's yours. You never gave up your soul. Sure, people say, I'll do anything as long as I got my family back. I'll give up my soul if I have to. You're fighting for the liberty and right to protect your child or family, yes. But your soul will always return because you gave yourself for them. You sacrificed your consciousness. You sacrificed your hope and faith as long as they come home safe. And exactly what happened. So I'm saying to you, when you're out there, and I've actually had people send me some crazy, stupid videos. Oh, it gets to be ridiculous. When I talk about Christmas, let's just talk about Santa Claus, for example. Santa Claus is not, I repeat, not Satan Claus. Okay? Get over it, folks. Whoever made up that bullshit story, call him a pagan. He never was pagan. And the word pagan is actually an indigenous name. Did you know that? Pagan is an indigenous name. They were indigenous people. Pagans were not just white people. They were First Nations people. Not pagan. They were pagan. And their travels in different continents across the land. So you learn something here. Santa Claus, let's use the word Santa Claus. Let's talk about Santa Claus first. Santa Claus is the real name. Santa Claus. Santa Claus actually was Dutch. A man who actually was a priest. And he wore off-color browns and colors, and he was wanting to help children. They called him the Saint Nicholas. That's how he got his name. They call him Saint Nicholas because he did a lot for the families and children. He gave and helped, and he was a kind of person. He was very much of a giver. That's where all this came in, folks. This is where it all started. Saint Nicholas. He did exist, but he's from Dutch. He was Holland. Okay. And then later on through the years, Saint Nicholas got Americanized, and someone read the story about it. So someone decided during the Second World War, someone decided to make a coat with the stars and stripes and to look like Santa Claus, but that's what they wore, to hand out gifts to the soldiers and the families. Really, to think about it, folks, Christmas was not really as big as most people would say, because they consider it was a gift giving. Now we're actually where Christmas began. Here's how Christmas really began. It was because of two men that were drunk. Two drunken men in a small village in the UK, in England, would knock on doors begging for money to get more beer. And they would yell out, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." Merry Christmas. And they'd bang on the doors, and out come and they'd be doing this to the rich folks. And the rich folks open the door and give them money, and they walk away because they can get more beer. Or more ale. That's how they used to do that. So that's where it began. And then it went down from one man who actually gave these men the money, became the creator of the story about Santa Claus. He decided to tell the story. Now, the one particular poem that he was a writer. One particular poem he wrote was A Night Before Christmas. Now, that writing itself, if you guys remember that writing, the poem, "'Twas Night Before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." This all relates to these men knocking on the door to get attention. But he wrote this poem specifically for his daughter. And he kept it private. He shared it with people that were in the room one day, what he had written. One of the young ladies that was in that room listened to it. She was totally blown by it. So she decided wanted to see what he wrote in the book, and she actually copied it and put it on a piece of paper, and then she took it down to a newspaper, and it had a newspaper column to put it in the newspaper, and they released it all over the land, and everyone loved it, but she put her name on it. Until later on down the road, 20 years later, the man realized he decided to take that very same poem that he wrote 20 years ago, and he decided himself to release it again in the editorial, but with his true name, so that he is a true person that actually did this. So as time went by, this is where it all began. So now this is where the Christmas part comes in. Gift of giving. Now the gift of giving was all to do with Santa Claus. Now, how did Santa Claus get involved? Well, because of one man working for a newspaper, and they wanted him to. The guys that worked in the newspaper, they wanted him to do a story about a bull and Christmas. Well, they called the bull Ferdinand, and the bull itself was like, he just couldn't figure how to work that story out with Ferdinand. And funny thing is, when he talked about Ferdinand, my mother had a bull on the farm, and their bull was called Ferdinand. So, but yeah, it doesn't relate to that. But it's kind of funny. Now, how can a bull and Christmas relate? Didn't. But what the guy got inspired by is when he decided to, and he had a child of his own, and for some reason he took pieces of it and changed the bull into a deer, and then he put something more fun with it, and he added the red nose. He's the one that created the word Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. This is all based on Christmas as well. These are all people. Now, they wanted to make it where what the newspaper was trying to do is trying to bring Christmas out, and they had to put a story in there that can relate to Santa Claus, but yet they had to make something that the kids can really relate. So he wrote the story about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So the book, it came out, everyone loved him. In fact, people came in by the thousands to buy these books. And these actually not buy the books; they were getting these books for free, and that was because it was Macy's that were giving these books away. Macy's or Grimble's, I think one of the two stores. There's two major corporate stores. I think it was the other one, but anyways, they were giving away hundreds and hundreds of books of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It became a hit. And then someone decided to take the Santa Claus, and another guy who's actually he became he's an artist, and he started to take the name Santa Claus and took a picture. And he actually, the guy himself, who actually was the artist, was a large fellow. And there was a mirror on the counter, and he looked at himself, and he thought, "Hey, you know what?" And he's actually writing all the little jotting words that what Santa Claus is about. That has rosy red cheeks, and telling sort of about Santa Claus. So he took all those little stories, what relates to Santa, and he made a character out of him, out of his own image. And that's how Santa Claus became famous. Now, when Santa became famous with the jolly look, and actually originally, like I said before, his costume was not originally red. It was brown, like light brown color. But down the road, someone said he looks better wearing red than actually wearing brown because it's more prominent out there. So they decided to use the red instead. They didn't have enough brown color in it had something to do with the print. They ran out of brown, so they started using red. It was something to do with the print. So anyways, they used the red, and it worked out better. And then down the road, Santa Claus became even more famous when they got into Coca-Cola, and advertisements came out that way. But that's later on through the years. But Santa Claus, from the very beginning, folks, the story about Santa Claus, or Santa Claus, came from Holland. It was Dutch. So if you really want to know the true history, look it up. It has nothing to do with pagan, it has nothing to do with Satan. People are always making up things because, sure, his words, you can take Santa and turn around and call it Satan. Just turn the words around. But you can also call it, like, you can take all these words and shift them around and call them something else. Okay, you can call them Stana. It's still the same. So no matter what it is, folks, it still relates. They were trying to bring Christmas out for the kids. Now, when Santa Claus, sure, he was there, but they had to get something to get the kids to really believe that Santa Claus exists. So this guy who was the writer, like I said before, he added more time. He gave Santa Claus that he lives forever, and he's got, instead of having one deer to fly on a sled, he had 8 tiny reindeer, and then this is where Rudolph was in the front. So in time all this began, it related to the story. And then everyone came on board to be like part of Santa Claus. And then there's a fellow years ago, back in the 1930s. His name is Tex Ritter. And they gave the words to Tex and say, we want you to see if you can make a song about Santa Claus. Santa Claus coming to town. And that's the man who helped bring Christmas for every child to believe that Christmas and Santa existed, because of Tex Ritter, a cowboy, and then a bunch of people from the past. So Santa Claus has nothing to do with Satan, nothing to do with pagans. It's all based under Saint Nicholas, and they just added more to make him. And I tell people always say, do you still believe in Santa Claus? Yes. Why not? We're big kids. Each and every one of us in our youth remember our Christmases. I'm sure all you guys out there, you're adults now to the day, but do you remember your first Christmas, or your most memorable Christmas when you were a child? What it meant to you? Because we were never taught to hate Christmas. Okay? Yeah, that's the monk, St. Nicholas. And yeah, 80 to 80. And they took it from there, part of Turkey as well as he was part of Turkey, but also as well as Holland. Those two countries worked together back and forth. So they call it Santa Claus, Clause, or Santa Claus. It was Santa Claus, but that's how they got jiggled around. We Americanize or Canadianize the words, and they'll always change the letters. Okay. But again, like I said before, Saint Nicholas was a monk. He wasn't pagan. He's a monk. And they took it where they, like I said, they make a story because he was a giver, gifted giver. He wasn't a person that hurt anyone. He was a good person. So we need to look at this and have a better understanding that we need to stop worrying about. Yeah, Santa was supposed to be an elf at first. They were trying to make. I remember one time they said before that they were supposed to make Santa like 3 feet tall, and then they changed it and they had to make him bigger. So yes, there was Santa was supposed to be an elf first, and they changed it to being a full-sized adult. I remember that one too. I remember that someone said this too. But yeah, I wanted to share this with you, and I hope you guys have a better understanding about what I wanted to share with you from the very beginning. This is important because why I'm saying all of this, the energies. This is important for 2023. That December of the 25th, which is Christmas. Now, someone started this rumor believing that December 25th is satanic day. There's Christ's birth, which is September. But they changed it now. The December 25th is actually considered as a gift of sharing, not and then they're trying to collaborate and to, well, Jesus did not know Santa and how bang. But you guys remember now too, Saint Nicholas and then Christ. I mean, it's still Christ. It's still part of the gift of giving, gift of caring. It wasn't just the most expensive gift. It was like you were there for family, represent that you're there. You're a loving family. You're just wanting to make sure that you give people hope and faith. And that's where the government decided to pass a bill bill saying that they're going to call it Christmas. Christmas has been considered as a holiday, and that's what they did. So all of this came out for a reason. That's why you'll see in the Second World War, as well as the First World War, it was when December 25th came, no one was shooting each other. There was peace amongst both sides of the people. No one shot at each other on 25th of December. And during any of these wars, they were at peace. In fact, there was a time that I had seen where there was a war between the Germans and the British. And I remember in one of the cities that when December 25th came, because Germans actually did celebrate Christmas, and the Germans and the Canadians and American soldiers, they all drank together and celebrated Christmas with no guns. None. They call it peacetime that day. And yet people still believe that no matter, again, every soldier is told to shoot, but none of these soldiers wanted to kill. They believe they're doing the right thing, but all they wanted to do was have peace. And so that's why they made Christmas a day and a night of peace. Peace on earth. Goodwill toward men and women. So it is far more important than you think. So we, I try to make it easier because I was really tormented about this for the longest time. And I've watched so I mean there are I mean I will say this, there's a lot of Christmas movies out there now all over the internet. I mean there's actually a page, folks, if you want to get some free movies online. It's called Look Movies. I go there and there's a page on there. It's lookmovies.foundation. Just type in the word lookmovies.foundation. And you go in there and it's all free movies. And you get lots of Christmas movies in there, lots of up to date new movies that you get to see for free. But I mean, I've been watching them for a long, long time. But you pay, if you want to do more with the site, you pay $3 and some odd cents, which is per month, to get all the extra things to go with it if you want to donate. But it's a really good site, and but you see a lot of Christmas stuff now. The reason why they're trying to impress people. You know, when you find people having peace of mind, why is it a holiday? Why is there a holiday that everyone feels good, but when the day is over, people begin to feel miserable again? But why can't we feel this day every day? Why can't we feel like Christmas is every day? I remember someone said to me, there's a bunch of ladies that I knew of, well, a couple ladies I didn't know, and they actually never took their Christmas ornaments down. In fact, they became collectors. That they decorate their house full of Christmas ornaments. Every room was in there. They always dress up for Christmas every day, trees up every day. And to them, I asked them, I said, how come, like, do you love Christmas so much? Oh, yes, we do. And they remember Christmas as children, little girls growing up. And I said, what's so important to this about all of these here? And they said, it's not the decorations. It's the feeling that they have that makes them feel good every day. They don't want to participate in what's happening outside the other side of the world, that they're always acting angry and frustrated and, like the way they're feeling the outside world. The ladies say when they're in the house and they see all their Christmas stuff all set up, it reminds them that they don't have to be angry, that there's happiness in the home. And that makes sense. Your home is where you lay your head. Your home is your happiness. It's where you lay your head is your home. And it made sense because so if you decide to become a collector of Christmas ornaments and Christmas every day at home and maybe a special room, my daughter collects Christmas ornaments, always has for years, right from when she was young. Like, she collects like really old antique ones too. But I mean, this is what people do because they believe that Christmas is important to them. To me, it was my fond memories of it as a child growing up. One of my fondnesses of with Christmas is one time when I was young, and my parents didn't have hardly anything, hardly any money. My father worked hard. My mother worked hard. Mother was a switchboard operator. My dad was an auto body man in Winnipeg. But they still struggled, to make, because and yet I think when Christmas came around, we decorated the trees. We did a whole, like the tree, the whole. I mean, my dad would took me out into the bush, and we go get a tree. No one went to the store. My father went to the bush and got a tree, and we came home with a tree and brought it in the house. We set it all up with that stand that my father had spent time with make sure it stands up straight. Then he got a hold of the old large boiler pot and filled it full of water and dumped the tree inside so it would never dry out. And then my dad would put the lights on, and mom would start decorating it, and then we have all these tinsel, lots of tinsel and popcorn strings, and we did like everything you can do as a kid growing up. And those bulbs back in, they were hot. You can cause a fire, so if you don't do it right, setting it up right. But the most fondest part about Christmas is because my parents would say, here's some money for you. You can go get each of us a Christmas for each other. and I would get something from my mom and my dad and my sister, and we exchanged gifts. But that Christmas Eve, I knew exactly how many presents were under that tree. Not that many, but they're just, it just enough where we were okay with it. And it was our time to go to bed and sleep. And then 5 in the morning, I can hear shing, 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 like ho, 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 and click. And I woke up at 5 in the morning, like come out in the living room, and there was Christmas gifts everywhere. I'm talking about all over the tree. I was blown away. And more than we actually had. They're all over the place around the tree. I never had experienced that in my life. And I was like 10, 11 years old. But I'll never forget that day. And my mom and dad came out of the bedroom after my sister came out, and she's in there ready to tear away her presents. And I'm looking at tearing away my presents. And my mom and dad are looking at each other, look back and said, Mom, wow, Dad, like Santa was here. And Mom said to Dad, I remember hearing her saying this, did you do this? Dad goes, no. And Mom goes like, okay, how did this happen? Like my parents to that day never did know who the secret Santa was. Not one. Now, the only thing I know is that when we were young, back in the 1960s, it's back in 66, 66, 67, no one really locked their doors. The doors were always, like, we never locked our doors because the winters are so horrible, so cold, that if anyone needs to warm up, they'll bang on the door, say, come in, can I get warmed up? And the door was always open for people. And we never locked our doors. So I thought about this many years later, and I realized after that somebody was a secret Santa and came in and brought those gifts in. So it was very appreciated. But I feel because people cared, and it was for the kids. And I remember being invited. My dad worked for a company called Community Chevrolet, and they had must be about 150 kids. And I remember going into this. I was one of the kids that showed up at this big, huge hall, and they had line up like a long lineup of tables, and every kid sat on each side of the table, like lots of kids, and we all were fed dinner, like we're fed Christmas dinner. And then later on, Santa would come out on stage, and each child would get a gift, but they would call your name. But the company did all this. And my dad said to me after, the company did all this. They paid all that money to get gifts for all the kids. These are for the staff, But they made sure the kids had something to remember them by. You don't hear that or see that hardly anymore. You don't hardly see that sort of thing, that any huge corporation company would ever do that for the families. You have to work so hard to make something to cover your family. But yet the company, I would say the company called Community Chevrolet is one of the best, nicest, family caring business ever, that they took care of their employees and they took care of the kids. I mean, the families, these are caring people. How many people do you know that can do this? I do like to say, if anybody does this sort of thing, any corporation or business that actually have their own, if they can consider doing this again, so that brings a great memory for that child growing up, that they will never forget that day. It was so special to them. Right. Yeah. Yeah, Keith. Yeah, we used to hang our Christmas cards over the windows too. There's something else that I find is interesting, guys. I remember as a kid growing up, for years, our families would mail out at least 50 or more Christmas cards to the families or friends or people, at least 50 cards every year for Christmas. Then my parents, we would save them and use them as part of the decoration. So we'd hang a string along the wall, like they'd dip along the wall, actually along the ceiling, and like even from the windows. And we'd hang those Christmas cards. They could be 2-3 years old, but they're like a decoration. It was great. Yeah, I remember that. Whether the families do this anymore, I don't know. But I will say this: I strongly believe that email has ruined Christmas cards. Yeah, email has ruined Christmas cards. You seldom ever see people get Christmas cards, and if they do, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, but not 50, 60 cards. You seldom, because I remember I used to work for the post office back in the 70s in Lethbridge, and I remember when Christmas cards came in, the place was packed. Like we would bring bags and bags of Christmas cards in, and that was considered printed matter. And those Christmas cards, like we were filling the boxes, the mail boxes, like in sorting them out. We were filling them out so fast because of Christmas cards. That's how crazy it was. Today I don't know, and yeah, it could be price of the stamp is so much too. But I still, if you really wanted to get a Christmas card to someone, that's what they did. But like I said, it's the thought about it. It's how it's the I could just say it's the you how you really want to um, care and share a thoughtful thing for family or loved ones. And I know myself. I mean, a lot of my relatives are gone. The ones that are my age and even older are gone. But I remember those are the fondest memories ever in my life. And will this ever happen again? I think so. I think so. Sure, we may have to make some adjustments, but you know, guys, I think everyone needs to take a look at once in a while. It doesn't hurt to take a grab about maybe a good dozen Christmas cards and just mail them to your friends, and if they're close by, drop them off in the mailbox. Like so. Because consider if you actually send your Christmas cards out as printed matter, it doesn't cost you as much. People don't know that. Okay. Um, but like I said before, earlier tonight, look to the stars, look to the skies tomorrow and the next day, because you're going to start seeing a lot of shooting stars for the next couple of nights. As long as the skies are clear, that you can see. Again, our Earth is going through a shift, it's going through a change, and the very beginning, please like and share this show to everyone. It's important because we need to let everyone know that the energy out there today, okay, the energy out there today is not like the way it was, say, a year or two ago. Like I said, we need to take back our power. We need to, stay in the loop of everything. Try not to walk away from things that you feel that you like. If you don't want to watch the news, great, but just be aware of it. They're trying to put a scare in people, and yeah, I think it's important. You know what I'm going to do? I think it's a great. I'm going to try something tonight. I haven't done this in a long time, guys. Let me see if I can open this up. Hang on a second. I'm going to do something today. I'm going to do some open lines and see if anybody wants to call in and talk about their most fondest times of Christmas, or if something else you want to share regarding the energy. I'm going to open up my phone first, and I'll give you guys the number to call in if you want to. But just give me a few minutes before this actually opens up. Because okay, let's see. It's been a while since we have open lines. You can always ask a question, or if you want to share something, more than welcome to. Okay, hang on a second here. Okay. Good. So the number, if you want to call in, is 360-566-2875. I'll drop the number inside the chat room here. 360-566-2875. And let's see. Yeah, you're more than welcome to call in and ask about any kind of question, or if you want to share your stories regarding Christmas or anything you feel it's if you actually, or if anybody's actually gone through experience of the energies. I think someone mentioned earlier, someone sent me a message or mentioned it. So we'll see what happens. Area code 306.
It's me.
Hey, me. How's it going? Hey, me.
Not bad. When I used to, I remember when I was a kid, and the company, the Inco, the mining company, used to give every kid in town in the Sudbury area, they would give a gift. Okay.
Yeah.
And like you'd go to the Inco Hall, they called it, or the old hall, and the company would give you a gift. You'd get in line, and there was Santa Claus there, and there was entertainment on the stage, and it was quite a big thing,
Yeah.
And I remember like that the place was always packed with kids.
Yes.
Back then, and I remember we lived in a small mining town, and I'm going to say on the edge of the forest, okay?
Yeah.
And we used to go, and my brother and I, Garfield, we used to head up the hill behind the house, and we'd pick a real nice Christmas tree,
Yeah.
Cut it down, drag. Of course, we'd have hot chocolate and stuff like that in the bush. Like it was like a family thing, and we'd drag it back, put it in the house. Of course, it was always too big, too tall. So you had to cut off some off the bottom again,
Yeah.
So, and then you'd decorate it. And I remember a lot of the decorations we made ourselves. Like, the stuff that goes around the tree.
Yep.
Okay, like we used to take paper and glue loops in there, and then you loop them together.
You make a chain.
You're
making paper chain.
We had a Yule log, okay?
Yeah.
And so you'd take a piece of firewood, a pine usually, you'd cut it, split in half, and then you'd put pine cones on it, and then you'd decorate it with pine stuff and stuff like that on it, like little, and then at the end of the night, you take that downstairs and put it into the furnace,
Yeah.
And it was quite an experience. I remember the candies we used to get, and you ever remember them humbugs?
Not.
They called them humbugs. They were made in Quebec, but they only made them.
Were those are the brown ones, aren't they? Those are the ones that
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I remember those. Yeah, those.
They don't make them anymore.
They were made of maple syrup. They come humbugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they made them, and there was one family made them in Quebec, and they must have made a lot because they sold them right across Canada.
Oh, I remember eating those things they're candy, but we loved them because that was regular. You want folks, you want to get a sugar fix? That was your true maple sugar fix.
Oh yeah, and then there was all the different candy canes, and the candy, the pop. Okay, of course the adults they would enjoy their spirits.
Yes.
And I remember
mug,
my uncle
eggnog.
Eggnog. My uncle used to come in from Manitoulin Island, and the old man, the old man and him, they would start arguing, in the middle of the whatever, and it was always a fun time, and people went from house to house. Remember that?
Yep.
Like you used to go from house to house, eh? and every house had Christmas lights on them.
Yeah.
You know, and that, like, I'll never forget, like, you'd go down the street, every house had Christmas lights, and the town would judge who would win the Christmas light contest, and people went out to really impress, you know, like that Santa Clauses on the roofs and sleighs and whatever. And I remember in those days, if you had one burnt Christmas light, you had to check you had one good bulb and you would check every bulb.
Yep.
Remember that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, I'll let someone else tell them about, and the Christmases, the stuff around the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I remember, like, it was a nice time when you were young, you know. And I'll never forget the 59 strike at Inco, because it was, you know, the men were out for about 3 or 4 months, and pickings were slim, but still we had a good Christmas.
You know, one thing, Keith, is that everybody, you know, they always think about the turkey. The turkey was the most important part of the Christmas.
Goose.
Everybody was different. People had goose, people had duck, turkey, ham.
Yeah.
And they'll do glazed ham. So it depended where you're living. We had the turkey, and the stuffing was the best. Between, you know, like first thing I look for was the stuffing. I want the stuffing. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. It was different back then. Like, it was, I don't know, it was just nice, you know, and the family, of course, you had big families back then, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I come from a family of 9, and actually there was 10, because my nephew, was younger than me, was like my brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he grew up with me, so it was like we had 5 girls, 4 boys plus Mike, and so that was 5 boys. You know.
We had like myself, just my sister and I, but anybody else, like all my cousins, there was like no less than 4. There were some that were 6, some were 10.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
well, First Nations families were always big.
I've met families that had 9, 18, 19, even 21 kids, wow.
And you know something, a little secret here, a lot of them were the extras. Some of the extras were from the daughters, and they just, you know, put them into the family, and all right, just another one to feed. That's it. You know,
no one got turned. No one ever got turned away. Everyone got loved. Yeah, they're all family. Well, I appreciate
the First Nations family were close. You know, and going door to door was the fun part. You know, like, let's go visit so and so. Let's go visit so and so. You know.
Yeah.
Like, there was Ukrainians there, Germans there. There was Polish there. You know.
Yeah.
And it was just a good time. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate calling in, Keith. We'll appreciate you calling in. We have another caller that's just joined us too, so we'll see.
All right, we'll see you later.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Talk to you then. Area code 424. Who we got to talk to?
Hi, Derrick. This is Simone.
Hi, Simone. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, except, you know, I've been having a lot of anxiety for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And I didn't realize it was the energy out there. And I had a bad attack today. And I was getting over it, doing real good.
Yeah. It's affecting everybody everywhere. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and they'll say, well, it must be an anxiety attack. Well, actually what it is, it's the energy. It's like we're all recovering from the negativeness and the depression and all of that. I mean, you think about this, it accumulates itself from all over the world, from everyone having to hide in their house for those 2 or so years. And they're starting to come out to be themselves. But in the meantime, all of a sudden someone said, we're going to go to war. We're at war with Israel. And, you know, next thing you know, like, oh my God, now there's a fight again. So people are angry. everyone's trying to recover from those 3 years or more now. We're trying to recover and heal, and now they're looking for more anger. So they keep on bringing the anger out. And here you and I, or everybody else out there, listeners and viewers, are trying to see the light, trying to bring in the light and try to calm people down. So we get caught up in it because it's an energy that's so heavy and negative. So I always tell people we have to learn to do is to mirror, mirror, mirror the negative energy off of us, because it's not ours to own. But we, because they're so sensitive, that we feel things that are going through us, that we feel that we want to help, and then we get caught up in it. And so we're trying to find a way to say, okay, what can we do? Well, learn to separate yourself from the anger, because it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. It's theirs. But we can also learn to do too. And I always say to this people, do a prayer of light, and to surround it across the land where we are and all across the world, a prayer of light, so we can actually learn to push down and push away the heaviness of depression, anger, frustration, anxiety, sadness, remorse. All of that is implanted into the earth, and we're walking on top of it. Now, Mother Earth can only handle so much. It has nothing to do with climate change, folks. Nothing to do with climate change. We are the ones are creating the climate problems, and it has nothing to do with carbon. It's our energy. So we have to learn to swing around and make it more positive. And even for example, Catherine's in there. We are having to go through detoxification, which explains some ascension symptoms. Yes, we go through that. We just basically detoxify. But we're also doing is we actually learn to do is to bring in the light more often, ask for the God light, and to stand that you're standing in it. We all know that we're in it, but also to help assist us to send it to distribute out there, so people can feel lighter, not to feel so heavy and angry. Yes, we are dealing with politicians. We're dealing with all these other things that people are trying to put negative out there, but because we're allowing it to control us, we don't need that. We don't need those head cases, and head games. And especially if you're working in, no matter where you were, no matter what your job is, what you do, whether you're at work or at home or travel, you'll start seeing some of it. And even if you go shopping in a store, for groceries, for example, people are frustrated. Oh, I got this, I got to do this, I have to find it. And you watch them, and sometimes I'll walk into the grocery store, the big corporate stores, and walk in there, and I go like, "Ow, my head hurts." Gee, I wonder why. Because you're picking up everybody else's negative anger, frustration, sadness, frustration, and because we are psychically sensitive, we're feeling up that, and that's why we feel we're having an anxiety attack. It's not yours, it's theirs. They're dumping on us. We are carrying their garbage. We're the walking garbage trucks, and that's a negative energy. It's just a fear. That's their own fears. So what we have to learn to do is disperse it back into Mother Earth. She loves to take care of it for us, to bring in the purification. So that's why we call it, say for example, if you want to walk on the grass, you want to get grounded, just basically take your shoes off and walk barefoot in the grass. Mother Earth loves to help cleanse us, because she's given us a life source, a light source, and helping us to clear our cells. And I find this important whenever I'm actually, it happened to me today, even driving home and going like, why am I feeling this way? Like, I was happy I'm out there shopping, go get some stuff. Actually went out and got my wife some more books to read. I go to this one store I go to, and I buy some really great discount paperbacks for her. And I'll pick up a whole box full of them, and I bring them home. But while I'm driving home, I'm going like, oh man, I feel like I'm having anxiety. Like, what's going on here? And I'm actually talking to some friends of mine on Telegram, and they're all saying, well, how come we're going through all this? Okay, everybody's feeling anxiety. It's the energy. Plus, also we're having the stars in the sky are shooting, the stars are going across the sky. That's an earth change and earth shifting. So it's going. We're all going through the experience. Some of us actually will be going through a heavier source of it. Some actually are not as much. Depends on how sensitive you are. It depends on each individual. If you have a stronger sensitivity to people's energies, then because you're allowing it to get, and it's not a fault. That's just the way we are. We're a plug-in. We walk up to the person, plug ourselves in. It's okay. I'm connected to you. What can I help you do? Or what do you need to do? And then by the time they're finished telling you their situation, their story, they feel better walking away. They're going, I feel really good. Thank you very much. They leave. Meantime, you're the one carrying the garbage because they dumped it on you. So what we have to learn to do now is to disperse it back into the earth because it's not ours. We don't own it. Right? So it makes a lot of sense. So if you're feeling that way yourself, I would say to, again, just work on that idea. That's going to help you a whole lot.
Yeah, that's it. You hit the nail on the head, Derrick.
I try to do what I can do. So, yeah. Catherine says, yeah, we're electrical arcs. That's true, because we do have energy, and that's where we're just picking it up, and it affects us. And especially when you're dealing, for example, like I said before, they're talking about Israel and all that, and then they were fighting and all that. Well, that's the negative. That's the negative, because they're going, like, we're going to war, we're fighting for our rights, and they're protect. Meantime, they're angry. And if you got, and like, I remember someone sent me a video yesterday, all of downtown Vancouver. I've never seen it so full of people in one specific area, that the public was angry and they wanted to hate the police. They wanted to hate anybody that got close to them, and going like, why are we there? What are we really fighting for? These people went there specifically to look for an argument. It had nothing to do with let's have peace. They were looking for an argument to keep the war running. You weren't there to protect anybody. You were looking for a war. You're looking for a fight. Don't look for the fight. Look for peace. We are peace keepers of the earth. We're the caretakers of the earth. We're not war mongers. If you wanted to protest and protect, then make it peaceful. That's the word peace, not to be, I'm shaking my fist. You, blah, 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 blah. I don't care what color. God is God, and all those people in that mix are God's children. God did not divide you up and say, you have to hate this person for that person because of this. It's mankind that changed all that. It's mankind that made you hate each other, because they said you had to hate each other, because they make money in war. They don't make money in peace. And we're caught up in the middle of it. Right? Makes sense.
Right. Thank you, Derrick.
No problem.
Really nice talking to you. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you, and tell people Merry Christmas. You're not offended.
Okay, I will.
Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. 360-566-2875. You guys want to call in, ask a question, or share some of your stories, or you feel something that you can, if you're actually dealt with the same kind of energies and you're trying to figure out, well, how come I'm feeling so depressed or down? And because of the energy in the air, you're more welcome to phone in. Love to hear from you. Because when we are trying to do is to look for answers, and how can we share that with others and say, what can we do to fix this? How can we source this out, right? And Catherine says, we whom answers creators calling are sources of universal love, light, and love soul. Thank you very much, Catherine. Thank you guys for being in the chat room. There's Cindy, and how nice to see you, Cindy. Long time no see. I'm glad she's watching. Oh my God. Ernie, Dolores, Nicole, Rhonda. We also got here Dawn, Corlin, we got here Eki, and John. More and more people. I have to do this real quick, or else they'll just like black. Anyways, yeah. So like I said before, if you guys want to refer back to check the, I'm actually going to be taking this whole recorded show, and I'm going to drop it into my Rumble page, and so I'll be sharing it with others. Please share this. If you get a chance to go on YouTube, like and share the show as much as you possibly can, because for some reason, YouTube has a tendency of, if they don't like what I talk about, then they end up striking me again. And they talk about politics, they strike me again because they're saying, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't say that," according to Trudum. And no, he's not our God. He's not our leader. Um, Rhonda says, when these heavy feelings and anxiety get so bad, I realize that I'm not thanking God and asking for the help I need. Just love your day every day. Love yourself, and just, I tell people, even the greatest of, you may have the odd person that may not like you or agree with what you do, or they're angry or frustrated. Just love them. Send them. You know what? People really, I remember my grandmother used to say, there are people who used to get mad at my grandma, and like they would really be angry. My grandmother would say, bless her heart, bless her heart. And she never got angry. Never got angry with people, even when somebody was getting, "Oh, I'm angry with you because you said this." And my grandma, bless her heart. When you're doing that, because it's not yours to hang on to. You don't have to own it. You don't have to hang on to it. Like, just send blessings of love and light. You don't have to hang on to somebody else's problems. Like, if it's yours, then seek out the issue, what you're dealing with. Like, it's okay. Why am I stuck with this? Why am I dealing with this part? Myself, for example, I mean, I've been dealing with certain things in my work that I had to figure out what to do next. And because when I do my intuitive work, it's so deep sometimes. I'm going like, okay, where do I talk about this? Because some people may like it or not like it. And so when I really get into it, I'll start writing all it down. Okay, I'll put it on paper and I'll say okay. So basically tonight I want to talk about the energies all over the world, feelings, and how, like, why. Oh, here's one for you. Why all of a sudden we're sleepy all the time? Okay, how come our people are always suddenly sleepy all the time? Is because of the food we're eating, something we're drinking, not enough coffee, too much coffee. Like, why are we feeling that we need to feel sleep? Like, we need to sleep, and we're not overly, like, for some people say, yes, I work real hard, it makes me want to sleep. No, I'm just saying, you're sitting down, you're just relaxing, all of a sudden you're out, and there is times I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up 2 hours later. And there's one time, like I said before, one time I slept all day in a chair. I could not open my eyes. I had nothing to do with my health. I'm healthy, but because Spirit wanted me to stay there to show me visions. And then when I opened my eyes, and I had to write it all down. Okay. Let's see here. Nicole says, I would call, however, my landline has been cut off and I only have Wi-Fi, no cell service. I want to know the same thing as always. How much longer in regards to Trudum flip the switch, and hoping and feeling like this is going to be sooner than 2023 or 2020 or 2025. It won't be past 2025. It's like we are finishing off. We're finishing off the leftovers, and I can't give you a specific date, but I will say from what I in spirit, they had said, be prepared for the hard times for the next 2 weeks after Christmas. The hardest times. Next couple of weeks, for a couple of weeks. But they're saying be prepared for it. Be prepared for the hardest 2 weeks. Not months, years, 2 weeks. You have to experience it. They want you to go through it. But when you experience it, that's to let you know to be above it. That means make sure your cash is in order. Don't depend on your banks. You may not have internet service after Christmas. Okay, you may lose internet service. We may end up having phone service for about a couple of weeks. So be prepared that you have all of that, everything that you want. That you're self-sufficient to take care of yourself. Make sure there's plenty of candles, flashlights, that sort of thing, batteries. Just to be sure, because because these things may happen now. Because it's actually, I'm not saying you're going to freeze to death, but they're trying. I guess they're trying to say that anytime this sort of thing actually happens, folks, is because they're finishing off collectively picking up the remains of the PEDOs. Okay, and we're talking about any other organizations or any buildings or anything that's being left underground, above ground, somewhere. They're picking up the remaining of the bad people, and they want us out of the way to be at home, not to leave home. So, for example, sometimes people say you're going to go through 3 days of the hardest times of your life. They want you to stay in your house for those 3 days. They're serious. They basically stay in your house because it's meant to happen. But when it does, you're already prepared to accept it, prepared to deal with it. But I would say, start, if you got a couple puzzles, like homemade puzzles, or you got a lot of books available, it's time to sit down and read. I'll be busy doing my crafts, where I'll figure something else out. And if we don't have certain things, like whether it's no internet service or no phone service, I'm still working on my stuff. I got things to do, but I keep myself occupied. But I will be prepared. Be prepared for more shows, and I'll keep on doing this until this whole thing is. I remember one time. I'm going to share with you guys a story. Just before the year 2000, I remember they used to talk about the millennium. Okay, we're going to lose the internet during the millennium. 2000, all the internet services are going to go down. Everybody's all freaking out, and people are going to say, "Oh, I can hardly wait for the year 2000." Da 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 da. And they would say this all the time. I can hardly wait for the year 2000, and all this thing's going to be all better. And I said, well, once 2000's is here, what are you going to do after that? That's all I said. And when 2000 does reach us, what are you going to do after that? We didn't lose we didn't have no power loss. We did have our Y2K. No internet went down. No phone lines went down. Everything was fine. Like, we just breezed right through New Year's, right through to the 2020 to 2001, went right through it, or 2000 to say, and nothing happened. But yet, for me, all it did for me is I was celebrating the Millennium Magic. It was called Millennium Magic 2000. I was actually an entertainer. I'm a singer, and I was on stage that evening, night before, on stage entertaining. I was singing with a friend of mine, and I lost my voice. I ended up having laryngitis after, but I had to keep on chewing some rat root to keep my voice up until I finally finished it. But by the night was over, by the time I hit after midnight, my voice was gone for a couple of days. Lost my voice. But that's the only thing that I went through. But other than that, it was fine. So, the thing is, I tell people this: we've already gone through some of the phases already. If you look at they're already talking. They've already talked about. We've already gone through some time shifts. We've already gone through some shifts already that we've already gone through. Like, for example, there are some things that you were swore that. I remember there was actually a newspaper back many years ago. And it was 1996. I think it was 96. That Nelson Mandela was supposed to have died in 1996, and yet he never died. But on the newspaper, it says he died. For some reason, we phased into another dimension. So we are having what you call dimensional shifts, where some things are. You swore that was there. I remember when I was playing Monopoly as a kid, the character had an eyeglass, right, singular eyeglass, but the new Monopoly has no eyeglass. But they denied the fact that ever happened. That never happened. The TV series Sinbad himself, or not TV series, a movie that Sinbad was supposed to have done called Genie, or like a Aladdin genie thing, and he played the genie. And yet, I've got that movie, the VHS, but he denied the fact that he ever did the movie, that it never existed. Again, another timeline shift. So we're also going through the Mandela effect. We're also going through shifts. George the monkey was supposed to have had a tail, but yet today they're saying no, he never had a tail. Yes, he did. So, and there's other things, like there's so many other things that they said happen. I remember even, for example, in Walt Disney, I remember as a kid watching Walt Disney where the Tinkerbell would come out to the front. She'd fly to the front, and there's an action I Walt Disney with a Disney, and she'd be above the word I, and she'd take her wand, she'd go ding, and that would make the I, or the little dot above the I of the Disney. Disney today said it never happened. Yes, it did. They said no, she never was on that screen. That's bullshit. So I found an old Disney movie that introduced that, the first thing that when he introduced the credits, introducing Disney, and it's her flying forward, bing, on the I of the word Disney. So there are some things physically did not go with the timeline because it's not energy. These are solids. Solids don't shift in timelines. We shift in timelines because we're an energy source. Does that make sense, guys? So if you've got something you've kept historically from the past that's stored away, and you suddenly decided to look at it, okay, Catherine says, I was in the USA when it was broadcast that George Carlin died, yet is back now. Yeah, I mean, there, and how do I explain this part? There are some things that people say they did do. I remember so many cool things in the past. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute here. I remember this. I remember that. Even, for example, Sesame Street. There is actually a part in Sesame Street where there was a guy who was supposed to be a baker, and he would always, how many he'd bring out the cakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 cakes, or dozen, whatever, 20. But he had cakes. Someone just said just recently that baker never existed. That's bullcrap. I remember watching the baker coming out and going, one cake, and the cake fall down, and they go, cake, one, and then that's Walt Disney. Or not Walt Disney, sorry. That's Muppet Show, or not Muppets, Sesame Street. But I remember the funny parts of it because they were trying to be funny for the kids. And I laughed at that. Yeah, so there are certain things that people may not realize did exist. And you're going to start seeing more Mandela effects. Okay, it's not over. It's just about to begin. I strongly feel we had Mandela effects even during times as well. We've had that too. It all affected us as well. We're saying that Chicago had a fire. Chicago never had a fire. Okay, Chicago, that was the mud. They had the big mud floods, but yet they're saying it actually was a fire. Well, how come they're saying it was a fire, but never was a fire? The mud floods, and the reason why they had the mud flood because these buildings were much taller, and there are some videos that shows that the whole city was totally empty. There's nobody on the street, and then next thing you know, all these people are dropped off out of vehicles, and next thing they're standing on the street, and as if nothing ever happened, they're going home. But yet, to them, they're looking around like, where do I live? So it's like you're starting all over again. Like, where did these people come from? They came from alien ships. They were dropped off here. So we are always going through a time shift. And that's why I'm telling people that we're put here for a reason, is to continue on learning about ourselves. It has, sure, we have a life plan, but the people up there are the ones that are life planning us. We just have to learn to say, you can't control us forever, unless something gone wrong. Anytime that if there's too many wars, they'll stop it and they'll start over again. That's why God said to me, or Jesus said to me, we screwed up twice. We screwed up this earth twice. In fact, Atlantis blew up and sank because the aliens were wanting to take those crystals away from the scientists, and the scientists are using it more as a militarized control to the public, and it went too far and it sank because of these large giant crystals. So that's why they call it the Crystal City. And I learned that from Ruth Montgomery. Like and not just her alone, but there's Arthur Finley, the guy who he actually himself remote viewed that. So, and this is another medium. And so there's a lot of people may not realize there's a lot of history in there, but yet once my generation's gone, you guys will have no knowledge of what really did happen. That's the reason why when you start seeing two generations leave, these kids on the third generation will have no idea what happened. They have no knowledge of what a telephone really is. Okay. So we have to remind them that those telephones were what we held in our hands. We held to talk to the phone. If you say to someone, a kid, young child today in school, if you go like this to them, they'll go like, what's that? Is that a symbol? Is that some sort of signal about a gang member? No, it means phone me. But they don't know what this means. All they know is what this means, right? So everything is different. You know, we need to learn to let people know what happened in the past. We need to share that. And so if you do come across any of these videos, please download them, share them, whether it's no matter what social network you're on, let the people see them. It's important, right? Okay. I really appreciate you guys. And I hope you guys really enjoy your Christmas stories, and where we shared our story about our youth and our childhood and some really great energy work. And I'll talk to you guys next week. And in the meantime, have a good one, guys. Be good to each other. Love you guys a lot. Have a Merry, great Christmas. Let's see. Coming up, let me have a quick look here. I got something to share with you guys too before I leave. That is, oh yes. Next week on the 21st, special. I'm bringing back a friend of mine. We're bringing back the Telephone to the Dead. We're talking about the ghosts of Christmas past. We're going to be communicating with those that crossed over, and we're bringing the boxes in here. We're trying to see if we can make contact with your loved ones or friends, and it's going to be interesting, folks. So if you guys, I'm going to have Bill Hauser on the program on the 21st on Thursday. So be there, and looking forward to having a chat with getting Bill in the studio here. And we're going to be actually making contact with loved ones. So we're going to have the boxes, the Telephone of Dead boxes on. And if you guys ever seen any of those paranormal investigation shows, where the guys are using the boxes, talking to the dead, that's exactly what we're going to be using. Okay. And I got 2 of them in the office, so we'll be using those. So be there on the 21st from 7 until 9, probably a little bit longer, but come and join us. Okay. And yeah, but have a great following week, guys, and have fun. Be positive. Put the word out there. Make it where you are trying to help people. Don't let anything heavy burden you. Just just care and love and nurture those. And if anybody's really angry about the world and all these wars, just send them nothing but white light and guardianship. And they need that because they are some of them are actually lost souls. They have no idea what the real truth is. And we are the truthers. And there it is. So take care, guys. Be good to each other, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
To the main event. Let's get ready to rumble. Y'all ready for this? Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time when the stars die? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together.